Chardonnay Webb, and she's going to be ready here for us. Tell us about your rap album.
Wow, you guys want me? Oh, we're just gonna start. We're gonna start the new era off. Okay. Well, 12
Yeah.
years. Well, back in 2012, I one night I was just bored, and I started writing lyrics, and I started working on a rap album. I started
Was it
working.
like really is it an album or like was it a mixtape? Was it only like 3 songs
No,
or was
it
it
wasn't.
like
No, it was an album. It was an album. I did like 10. I did like 11 songs.
Oh my god.
Karleigh
And
doesn't fuck
really,
around. Is the
and really,
real
it was
moral
a.
of the
And
story.
really, it was a. It. Let me tell you, it was an amalgamation of a number of things I did. Because like the year before in 2011, I was working on a couple rap songs. It was like political rap. Like there was a song on the Occupy movement. There was a song on like globalization and
Yeah.
capitalism that I did.
Okay.
The
But
progressive
then,
bona fides. No, you're not
but
late
I
and
brought
all that
no,
nonsense.
but
I love it.
in part because when my dad came to visit in 2011 during the Occupy protest, he dragged me down to New York to sleep in a tent in the rain because he was part of the Occupy protest in
Oh,
Omaha.
okay.
So
There's
that's part of it. Now, here's one thing. Now, and then I just started putting other things together, things that I kind of been working on, poems and things on and off.
Okay.
And then next thing you know, I just had enough to do an album, so I figured, screw it. So I did like a cut, which was me bragging about, it was brag rap. This was a very much an '80s hip hop vibe, kind of updated for because at
Okay.
the time it's 2011, and I did one song on. I was inspired by Herm Edwards' rookie camp speech.
When you leave this room today, there are cameras watching you wherever you go. You know it. And whatever you do.
This is at the beginning of like when social media was really booming.
Yeah. He was calling
Around
out the
2011.
Foucault, quoting Michel
Yes,
Foucault. Yeah.
exactly.
Like,
But the thing is that I wrote this rhyme called "Nothing Good Happens After Midnight," and it was the story about a young like rookie quarterback who is like a first round draft pick and has this great game against the then defending Super Bowl champion New York Giants, and then goes
true
out to the
fan
strip,
fiction.
then goes out to the strip club that night,
Okay.
runs into this stripper. He didn't do anything with her, but things looked like he did. So the next thing you know, cops got called and he gets booked, and next thing you know, he's Adam Schefter has him all over the news the next morning, and he's got to go through this
Okay.
stuff with the commissioner, and he talks about that. And next thing you know, it was a song. There were other songs like I did a couple songs about like the realities of sex work from the point of view of the person who is like
The
buying and the person
quarterback.
who is doing it. And I just did stuff that was just silly and fun. Like I did some brag rap, but that brag rap was very telling. I'll say it. It was a very telling song. It had college football bars on it.
Of course
I'm
it
sure
does.
it did.
It had college football bars.
Based it and fried, yeah you tried, but Husker pride's going worldwide. Try to contain, you get killed. Action skills like Tommy Frazier and Turner Gill.
I am
That's pretty decent.
undefeated like the Dolphins sitting at the seat. No, here's one because it led into a bridge. I made up this alter ego of an all British girls group called English Electric, and they did like this bridge.
Undefeated like a Dolphins sitting at the seat. Primed and poised to put you down to defeat. And next up, I'll really make it weep. You're about to get this with Hannah Montana's beat.
And then it goes into boom, clap, boom, de clap, de clap.
Boom, clap. Boom, de clap,
I'm
de clap,
Alexandra.
boom, boom,
I'm
clap,
Diana.
boom, de
And
clap,
I'm
de clap,
Constance.
boom,
We're
boom, clap.
English Electric.
And my girl group made a mini like bridge to it.
See, I appreciate that even in your like pre-transition alter ego rap, like you're like, and now here's the girl group.
Yeah, right.
Like,
You're like,
Oh,
well,
no.
obviously I have to have a girl group
It's
that's me.
it's amazing what you can do with some garage band and a little ingenuity.
And dysphoria.
Yeah, and because
Like,
because this was in some ways built from dysphoria, and I want to build an answer to this song because a few weeks after I completed this, it was maybe a couple weeks after I completed this. That was the first time I went out and found. That
All
was
right. I love
so
that.
it was kind of like this was like, okay, this is one last stand here to affirm
Look, we
to
all,
a
I don't
to
know. I made a last stand of like purported cis heterosexuality normality. Like, I was like, I'm going to cut my hair and get serious, like we all, and it was like, yeah, the only thing I was serious about is how deluded I was, but because I was like, that shit did not hold.
Yeah, you also look like a lesbian with
but
short hair.
I look
but
like
I will,
my hair wasn't that short, okay? It was very like it was like down to my shoulders.
wow, I can't believe that we're at. I mean, I like the way we're starting the new show. I like the way we're
Honestly,
starting it.
though,
I've thought about making a whole song using English Electric because what I
you
did with
definitely should.
what I did with GarageBand was build 3 different English accents, use some pitch controls, use different things, auto tuned it, and the names of the 3 members of the group were Alexandra, Diana, and Constance.
Okay,
So
so
when you were doing all this, were you just like, yeah, I'm a straight man?
Actually,
All right.
yes. I
ew,
mean, see, but that's the one thing. That's the interesting thing is that.
you
But that's
weren't.
I no, I was no. I was very. I know coming up, I was very no. I would read as very straight. I mean,
Oh,
I had the exact
we
opposite.
saw the clip. You
We
were
saw the
very,
clip.
What
very
clip?
straight.
I think you thought you read as very straight.
I mean, to me, I just thought it's like, hey, okay pre-transition. This was me. I was a str- I saw I went out into the world as straight het dated women. But this rap album, this was part me just wanting to like be creative, and
Hell yeah.
part of me just having
Genuinely
some,
very
and
creative.
part of me
Like,
just having some fun and having
It's
some
like really
fun.
ambitious, honestly. Like an 11-song
yeah.
album. That's ambitious as hell.
I mean,
Like,
as a matter of fact,
out
I'm
of
on
no,
my
yeah, and to come up with the second alt group to add in, like you were like, that is a lot of planning.
Hopefully we can hear more and share it with everyone here.
Yeah.
And
oh well.
this
Let me put it
weekend,
this way: I could be talked into at least giving you nothing good happens after midnight.
I
okay.
hope
I
so.
I
I'm
The
will.
going to try to,
listeners will hear it. It's
yeah,
gonna be
like
great.
love
Okay,
this.
now, but I'm just wondering this week. I mean, for everybody, this is the new era, the transition defense
New.
era. You just heard that I used to be a hip hop artist. I'm Karleigh Chardonnay Webb.
I'm Chelsea Poe.
And I'm Shauna Atkinson, and I'm so glad that this isn't. So, a lot of the times we would have a lot of these kinds of conversations off camera because we are just like, we've been friends for a while, so we like bullshitting with each other as we do, and we would just kind of get in this kind of like, just kind of having fun as you do. And I'm so glad that we're like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just do it. And so glad to have you joining us here for this as we just kind of are enjoying each other, talking about today all the news of the world of trans and sports, so which for better or worse, and unfortunately, if you've been following along, it's been for worse for a lot of it.
Well, it has been, and
But that's
it has been.
why we are so happy to be here and to give that kind of trans joy and to find the fun in it because there is so much fun to be had in being trans and in being involved in sports. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we're glad that you're here, and let's just get right into it. Since we're talking about the news, what's
Absolutely.
new? What's new, Shauna? What is news to you this week? Besides, obviously, that I was a hip hop artist.
Well, aside
The
from that, well,
revelation.
let's see. Ohio is striking back, which I love to see. So the ACLU has filed suit against the state of Ohio after their awful,
Sex
2-for-1
is a fool's
combo
errand.
trans sports
It's
ban,
also
trans
fighting their own
healthcare youth
biology.
ban. And I'm really happy to see it. I hope both sides of it get struck down because, frankly, both are awful and both have shown to be a problem. And I know I personally, I'm looking forward to being on a panel with a former Olympian. So I'm
Wow.
going to be on a panel with Sam Thayer, who used to swim for Team USA, and I'm really looking forward to that discussion. And I'm very curious how that will go because I know that he allegedly doesn't have an entirely inclusive view on trans. You know, they say trans participation in sports, but let's be honest, it's trans women. It's always trans
Well, we
women.
know it's about, but
Yeah,
we know it's
when you
all
say
about, but
trans athlete, whomst do you mean? And I always really appreciate Karleigh for getting me on this question of like, what really do you mean? You mean trans women, and
and
it's important to say that.
like I say, let's talk about what this issue is really about, because that's at the end of the day,
Absolutely.
it's even though I'll say this, if there are more trans boys playing high school sports than trans girls, there are more trans boys, there are more young trans men in college who are playing collegiate sports than trans women. There are that's the numbers. That's what those are facts. I see it like this: when some young trans boy is a rivals top 100, which will happen.
It's
This is
gonna
going to
happen, yeah.
happen. It's going to happen.
There's
You
just
know
too many
people are going to
trans
lose it.
people existing in the
People
general. It's
people are
just
going to
getting more
lose
and
There are
their
more.
mind.
more today than there have ever been.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
don't think
In part, I think it's just a matter of it's been more open for people to come out at younger
absolutely.
ages. I mean, to me, there are people want to say, "Oh, there's this infold increase." No, it's not a matter so much that there's an increase to come out. Yes, but those people have always been there. It's just now you don't have to hide anymore.
Absolutely. And I think
Yeah.
that's such an important part of their like, there's so many more. Well, it's not that there are more, it's that there's so many more possibility models. You know, something that I
Yeah.
think is very prevalent in our community is the possibility models and seeing like, oh, wait, you mean I can do X, Y, or Z and like still be, I can be trans and do this? And that's such an important
Yes.
thing that so many people get to see today that they didn't used to. And I think there's something, you know, obviously it hasn't happened yet, but I do think you're right that there's going to be some trans guy somewhere, some trans boy who's going to be excelling, and it's really going to start a question on
Well, in the
testosterone.
sense you
Mhm.
saw it,
And I don't think we're going to like that discussion because I think you're going to see a lot of comparisons to steroids, even though
yes, you are.
obviously those are. And I think this conversation is going to be very potentially flawed, and I think it's
Yes, it
going to
will
be
be.
one that will be very fraught, and it'll be. I'm very curious how it'll play out on the national eye, especially given the circumstance.
Well,
But I'm very looking. I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm looking forward to that person getting the spotlight and seeing
well,
someone excelling, because that's always the question: is how trans participation is really about when trans people win and when trans women win, when trans men win. Like Mac Beggs was a problem because he fucking won and won a lot.
but also Mac Beggs should have been a problem. Which
No,
because
absolutely. He has
if
a
they
different
would have just
career.
if they would have just let Mac be the boy he is and let him compete as such, we don't have a problem here. I'll give you an example of something where people might have lost their minds and didn't. Was when remember the Rock's reality show with all the obstacles, like it was like kind of like a new age, like American Gladiators he had a couple years
I
ago.
do remember that actually.
Not really,
and
but okay.
and the thing is, in 2020, he had a competitor on the show named Mitch Harrison. Now, and I got to interview Mitch. Mitch Harrison is a trans man. Mitch Harrison was also a highly regarded college basketball player pre-transition. I mean, he played he played at Stanford for the winningest coach of all time. He was a part of a Final Four team under Tara Vanderveer at Stanford.
Hmm.
That's great.
I mean, and I was a
Yeah.
little, and I was pleased that he got his opportunity on that show. Got a lot of respect. I mean, I remember The Rock dapping him up after the show because he had competed so well. He lost in the first, yeah, the Titan Games. It was the Titan Games, and
Yes.
I mean,
God, I
wrote a
forgot about.
story. I wrote a story on this. Had him on my previous podcast. In
Okay.
fact, here's the article I did showing it right now.
Oh, I love that. Wait.
And
Okay. 2020. Nice.
Yeah, this
Alright.
was like,
Very
I
cool.
mean, this ran back during, when the pandemic got really bad. We're all locked
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
and
We're
no,
all
it
very
was
bored, and so it's like,
yeah,
okay, here's what's going on is like this trans guy is like being a person and living his life, which, really and truly is what is at the heart of all of this. Is just
exactly.
one of
And playing and
like that's just
and
a dude. Like at the end of the day, like
yeah,
why are you
just a
mad?
dude.
Like
I also feel like I know
dude,
like 50
guys
white
being
trans guys
dudes.
that look exactly like that, though.
I know cis guys
But the
and
point
trans guys who look like that
no,
at the end of
but
the
the
day.
Yeah.
point is, people. But the point is that it wasn't. I mean, people make more out of this than what it is, and they're going to do it if some young trans boy is like playing for Kirby Smart of Georgia. They're going to make more out of this than what it is, and they're going to forget about any regulations. They're going to forget about the hoops that it takes just to do this. But Chelsea, what's news to
Yeah,
you?
Oh, I thought of something. I'm like,
yeah.
maybe this is a whole conspiracy theory. She's not even trans. This is a conspiracy theory for us to talk about
All
NCAA
right.
swimming. Maybe it's big
I think
swimming.
that's it. Big
Like,
swimming.
Mhm. Well, what you got?
yeah,
Like maybe that's
yeah.
what's behind Riley Gaines. It's big swimming.
This could
Clearly.
all be.
What else explains a fifth place swimmer getting this much national coverage, men or
Oh
women?
no.
Riley Gaines, a real American transphobe. Riley Gaines is there. It's been 2 years, she's still jealous of Leah, and the trophies both look the same. Showed a transphobic ass for all to see, and Leah Thomas lives in her head rent free. Riley Gaines, a real American transphobe. Riley Gaines is there.
I genuinely think all these people are just grifters. I don't think most people give a fucking shit, but
Oh, okay.
that's just my
Leah's going
personal
to stop
take.
giving a shit as soon as the money's in it. Because at the end of the day,
Yeah, I
or
mean,
if there's two things, either she's going to give up on it, or because the money's not there, or her heart's hardened so much by bigotry. Neither of which are good. But you know what? I'd kind of rather the first. Maybe we should just stop paying transphobes to travel the country and spread their prejudice to others.
Especially
that's America,
in
baby.
Cultural
yeah, I
conversion.
know. But Chelsea, like you said, what is
Yeah.
news to you?
I just got back from AVN. It was a crazy week. We're gonna talk more about it as we go on, but yeah. So I was there, obviously, also during like the whole NFL weekend. Taylor Swift gets her moment. That's terrific. And yeah, I'm just like really excited for this whole like Super Bowl this year. This is gonna be a controversial take. I want Kansas City to win because I like Taylor Swift more than I like the city of Santa Clara.
As a San Franciscan, I think that's a interesting, but not. I don't like. I'm sure you're not alone in it.
If they still played at Candlestick Park, sure. Sure. I went by it
So
every time I
it's
went by the
literally just
airport.
because the San Francisco 49ers aren't really in San Francisco anymore. That's your sole
Well,
reason.
so it's a little more confusing than that. So I lived in Oakland for the first 6
Okay.
years I lived in the Bay. So by the time I moved to San Francisco, Candlestick Park was gone for like I think 3 years at that point. Never really became a Raiders fan. Just never like connected with it. I think also knowing that the entire time I'd been here, the Raiders were talking about leaving and they left once already. So the whole kind of mindset of everyone was like, fuck the Raiders. They don't give a shit about Oakland. Not like the A's. The A's are our team. And then not so
Fun
much.
fact about both the Raiders and the A's.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The mayor of Oakland's actually being recalled because of that. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yes, I heard
No,
about
but
that.
I love. But
Yeah.
honestly, losing a
Yeah,
professional
Shangtao.
sports franchise.
Two.
No.
Well,
Well,
here's
three.
well,
Two.
Three.
no, but
Three.
here's the
They
thing.
used the third.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
the Raiders
the
are gone,
Warriors
the
moved from
A's are gone,
Oakland.
and the Warriors moved across the Bay.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
But
true.
but here's my thing about all that. I applaud the city of Oakland for sticking to their guns and realize we got real issues to solve. And if you want to go, go. I think more cities need to do that. I am not a fan of a big league city extorting of a big league team extorting a city. I'm not. And I
On the
now
surface, I see that, but also what the city of Oakland is now, and just kind of like the whole Bay Area in general, I like none of these politicians are really doing anything to make anything better here. So I think it's also now you're losing like this huge sense of identity for the city of Oakland. Where I live there, we still very much view ourselves as not even just like a neighborhood of SF, which is kind of more now where it's essentially viewed as Brooklyn compared to SF. It was really viewed as its own separate identity, and I feel like it's starting to
Yes, it
fade away a
was.
little bit.
I understand where you're
Terrible.
coming from. I'm not going to say as much as I said what I just said at the same time, especially because when I was a little kid, there were two things I identified with Oakland: Tower of Power and the Raiders.
Yeah.
And
Power.
Tower of Power, Power R&B group from the 1970s,
Oh,
based
I
in
thought
Oakland.
it was
Yeah.
the Macho
Based
Man
in
Randy Savage
based in Oakland.
and Hulk Hogan.
But things like
I
that.
feel like it's like
Not
the
that?
Raiders,
Okay.
the A's,
was-
the Black Panthers,
Yeah,
and like that's what Oakland is, and that all these like kind of cultural sports identity
but
things
oh
are
yeah,
gone. I mean,
but think about in their heyday, how great it was to be in Oakland, to be a sports fan in Oakland. Because think
yeah.
about it, um, if we're in 1974 instead of 2024, let's set the clock back 50 years. You have the Raiders fighting to be in the Super Bowl every year, and they were really truly the Raiders. You had the Golden State Warriors, who were a winning team and had reached an NBA final, and then you had the Oakland A's, who won like 3 World Series in a row with a team full of stars. Reggie Jackson as an A, and
I
was
mean,
a young budding star. Vita Blue pitching.
there's
Riley
so
Dennis
much
Singer
Eckersley as
pitching.
like
history
a
that's
rookie.
gone. You had the Bash
Eckersley wasn't there
Bros.
yet,
Okay,
You
okay.
had the Bash Bros. The Warriors run when it was in
right?
Oakland was so special.
Run TMC.
Like,
I loved
like
Run
it's.
Run
TMC.
TMC, yep.
I mean, also Marshawn Lynch when he played for the Raiders in Oakland. That was the craziest shit in the world. Like, did you see all those videos?
Right?
Like, he was the last game at the Coliseum. He was smoking a blunt on the sidelines during the game.
Marshawn Lynch is a national treasure.
Yeah.
Yes.
It
Oh
should
my gosh,
always be protected.
Bottoms, Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
Because you've both seen Bottoms, right?
Yes, I
Yeah,
have.
yeah,
And it's a great movie.
Yeah, it's
It
pretty
is
good.
So
awesome
good.
fun.
Marshawn Lynch just like makes me so happy, and I love the story of why he did it too. To like, help make up for not being great to his sister. Like when she came out, I thought that was really cool.
Yes.
Ah,
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Now, what's news to me this week? A couple of things. Bathroom bill passing in Utah. Ick. Some good news from Iowa today. Got the reports from Aaron in the Morning. If you're not subscribing to the Aaron in the Morning Substack, you should. About how a bill in the Iowa House to remove trans people from the state Civil Rights Act and declare them "quote unquote" disabled. Wow, insult two birds with one stone. Why don't you, Kim Reynolds? Was beaten in committee, which I'm glad about.
I feel like we need to have
This
a
was
segment
beaten
of
in
this
committee.
show. We need to just have a recurring segment that's just bullshit that's happening to trans people throughout the country, right?
Oh, that is.
Honestly,
And
though.
That's like a good. That's a
Honestly.
segment.
and
Here's all
and
the
a quick.
shit that we're dealing
Yeah.
with.
And
It's a fucking lot.
oh shoot! If we did that, that'd be the entire show. But
And
also,
we're done. Well, thanks
But
for
also-
joining us. Everything's
yes.
terrible.
but quickly on the sports front for me today, the Formula One group, the managing body of the Formula One World Championship, told Michael and Mario Andretti and Andretti Cadillac, sorry, we feel you won't be competitive enough. We're not letting you sit with us. Try again in 2028. And
Fuck
my
them.
personal,
2028?
yeah, try again in 2028.
F1 is so. F1's so fucking corrupt. It's
Why
so
would-
corrupt.
Pretty much. But I mean, I find it ridiculous. The one reason that really stuck in my craw was the fact that Andretti was two things really. One, we feel the team would be uncompetitive. Well, you don't know
Yeah.
that unless you let them compete. And then secondly, there was the matter rather of we feel the Andretti name Formula One wouldn't gain much from the Andretti name. The Andretti name wants to gain from Formula One. It was to me as a racing fan and as an American racing fan especially, that was a slap in the face to a very iconic name.
Completely.
I mean,
How does everybody not just lose there? Like,
I
I feel like
mean-
it makes both F1 and the Andretti name look bad. And what are we doing at that point?
But honestly, Mario Andretti, he's arguably one of the greatest drivers of all time.
Absolutely.
I just
when you
don't
think
get
of the
how
name of
they-
racer Mario Andretti, right?
I mean,
like,
F1 championship, Daytona 500, Indy 500, like that. They're like trying to play him like there's so many lesser people throughout the history of F1.
I would say like
Alain
this.
Prost, for example. Like, I just don't get how
Well,
that's.
again, you can't necessarily call Alain Prost lesser. Great,
But,
Le Professor was a
um,
great driver. Was a great
No,
driver.
he was, but he's no Mario Andretti.
But then
he's-
again, who is Mario Andretti? He's Mario Andretti is an icon. If you build a Mount Rushmore of motorsport, you definitely have to make a case for him being on it. But my thing is, but also there's the fact of the matter. Two quick things for going to break on this one. One, no expansion team in any sport has ever had the type of button-down presentation that Andretti Cadillac has. Period. They walked in, first off, you have that iconic name. Secondly, they have a business plan that was full of blue-chip companies. Third, you have one of the world's largest automakers who's saying, we're in. We will build a power unit. General Motors is in. You have one of the three largest automakers in the world who's saying, let us in the door, we're building this engine. They're
okay,
in.
but like, I have a question as someone who does not know racing. How is GM not already in it?
Okay, so basically F1 is this very European sport. To even get in it, you essentially have to go through the entire, you have to like grow up in Europe, go through their entire karting system, go through all the different formula systems
now
until you get there.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, you
So
do
you have to
now.
do all that
you didn't,
stuff.
Yeah. You didn't have to used to do that because now
it's
you do
basically
because
always been extremely European. And then during like the 2000s started opening more, like Toyota got a team for a while. The closest thing through it to an American team was Jaguar when it was owned by Ford still. But that was like a pretty big failure.
Okay, so this is
I
very
think
much like in a European versus American.
But here's the interesting thing. You're looking at the current F1 history. You haven't had an American entry in Formula One with this level of capitalization since I was in high school. Now, Andretti has even greater capitalization. They have a name. They've planned a facility in Indianapolis where they will build the cars. They already hired people from other teams to work on it. They were buttoned down and ready to go.
Oh, yeah, one more thing. In F1, all the teams are essentially based in London. So that's a part of it. Also, there's 22 drivers in F1 right now, right? Isn't it always 22?
20.
Oh, they dropped it down. Okay, so there's 0 Americans. There hasn't been an American.
There's one. Actually, there's one. There's one.
Who's in it?
Logan Sargent for Team Williams.
Oh,
there's one.
I didn't even know. Last I knew was Scott Speed.
Scott Speed for Red Bull.
Yep. And he didn't do very well either. There hasn't been an F1 driver who is American who made a podium or won in at least like 1930
1993 was the last American, and guess who that American was? The last American to podium.
I don't actually know.
Michael Andretti.
Did that.
Michael
Andretti raced.
Yes, he did.
A season of F1 with what team?
McLaren. He was Ayrton Senna's
really?
teammate in '93. Yes.
Oh. I was gonna be named after Ayrton Senna. That was my dad's big thing he really pushed for. Yeah. And then I learned about him, like, oh wow, that'd have been kind of cool.
Misha Ayrton.
Well, if you ever choose to detransition, you've got a great head start.
But also, I could have that name now, and no one would be like, "That's a different gender name."
That's
true. Yeah,
Well, Trent, welcome to the the first segment of a new era. We're having a lot of fun. When we come back, we're going to look at Super Bowl 58. It's the dead week. It's the dead week, but now we're going into the live week, and there's a lot to talk about, unless you're in Detroit. And Later on, and later on the show, we're gonna look at Chelsea's AVN. What was it like in Vegas? I'm Karleigh. She's Chelsea. She's Shauna. This is Transition Defense. Stay with us.
Do you see yourself in this picture? Do you see yourself hitting the hole, catching the pass, making that big play and taking it all the way to the house? Are you seeking a team, a sisterhood that will have your back? If you're looking for that, Reapers Women's Football is looking for you. Our first game is March 9th, and we're hard at work, and we have room for you. Practices are every Saturday morning, 7 a.m. sharp at Carmel Sports Club, 111 Old Route 6 in Carmel Hamlet, New York. If you've played before or never played before, it doesn't matter, because we want you to be a part of us for an exciting season in 2024. Reapers Women's Football. It's not just football, it's family.
This is Alexandra.
Hey, it's Chip. What's shaking?
Hi!
You got the package,
I
right?
did get it. It fits perfectly. It's rather tasty. I like it. And you know red is my color.
Hey, you know I'm in town for the meetings this week.
You're in town.
Yeah, Gangsta Co meeting.
That's right. It's the Gangsta Co shareholders meeting this week.
So you think you could fit me in the schedule? We could play
You
time
want to
later?
play? Tonight?
Yeah, can you fit me
Well,
in?
I have nothing on
Wow.
my schedule as of yet.
Well, that's good. Say 9-ish?
Fine.
So you were doing this and you were
Don't
like,
be late.
I can't wait.
straight
Bye,
man
Alexandra.
looking for
I
women.
love capitalism.
She was like, I'm very straight.
I'm very straight. No one knows.
What do you
Even
mean?
as B.
But if
I'm a
I
sexual,
was,
I'm a heterosexual
do you know something,
man.
Gene?
Okay, so we're back. That's a very good way to get back from
Yeah.
the break.
Feel about this.
Okay.
9 at night
Okay.
in the business district.
Oh,
Roll
God.
the Porsche with the tint so delicious. Flowing hair, fresh, wearing and friendly. With nice legs in my 38Ds. Right around the neckline. Yes, it's all mine.
Pretty.
Finances are in line. We'll have a good time. 5G for the night,
Very
30G for the
large.
week. 50G for the trip. I'm on your tip. I'm on your hip. Passenger in your whip. Chums flip when they
Did
see what
Desmond
I'm
Howard
working
know about
with.
this?
A
I
full
feel like
night full of
Desmond would've
modes and
liked
size.
this.
An orgasmic prize can be yours at the price is
I think
right.
Desmond would be like,
That's
ooh,
fair.
pretty
Ways to ease
cool
your
stuff.
frown.
Oh,
So
Karleigh.
worthy and handsome, come on down. Ice perfume and 5-star rooms, fresh outfits and expensive
Wow.
trinkets.
Oh no, wait for it. Wait for it.
High power game breaker, big profit taker. Close like Mariano, big money maker. But I trade it all for someone to hold. Easy on the eyes with a heart of gold. A little after 9 in the business district. Rolling the Ferrari with no one to be with. But I needed it bad. I hit up my Google and I found your ad. It was just a few hours, set me back about 5K. But when you left, I wished you could stay. I continue to call now and again. Once in a while, you managed to fit me in. The things you would do would make me scream and shout, but I'd long for a special kiss on the mouth. But much of my dismaying, you don't get romantic passion when you're paying, but I would escalate. Visits accumulate. Dollars I'm paying you to
Wow.
numerate. Financial pipeline flow. Keep it discreet so the office don't know.
You and me take the lead, not for free. I'm done with the GFE.
I don't want experience, I want real. I want a love I can actually feel.
It's
I
funny
want a
knowing that
love
they're
I can
both
have for
you.
life. I trade your experience for a wife.
But I'll do things that a wife won't do. Unlike a wife, I can actually screw. You knew the game when you entered. You knew I'm self-centered. You knew the strict fundamentals. What's love got to do with the game? Getting things and getting paid. That's the aim. I'm the arm ornament for the corporate getaway.
You need to send this to the University of Nebraska. They need to use some of this for their...
You might qualify for the GFE, but that'll cost you a set of car keys, like the ones to the Porsche my lens client bought me.
Wow.
I get my cash, you get your nut. That's what's up. Forget all the romance stuff. You want to wife yourself? Really lame. All my clients are just the same. No wonder you have problems.
Wow. Wow. Welcome back, everyone. Wow. You really went for it. You went for it. Damn.
I did not expect so much British accent in a very like I was like, you did make a fake British band.
I did.
You
And
really
then
did.
rapped
I
on
did.
this song, and you were like, you went to bed. And were like, I'm very.
Well, speaking about the intersection of sports and music,
And not being straight.
Taylor Swift. She's been playing
Wait.
football for.
Y'all
She's
went
been
too
playing
high.
football. She's been playing football for 5 months, and she made it
And
all
she's
the way to the
already
Super
the
Bowl.
Super Bowl.
It's crazy.
Taylor Swift, Rookie of the Year.
Did you hear how much Super Bowl tickets are this year?
Because
of her.
What is the
No.
Super Bowl? Well, she won't even be in the game, most likely.
Oh no, she's gonna be there.
You think they'll let her out of her contract for the show she's doing in Japan?
No, it's totally fine. So when you fly back from Japan, you're on the same day. You actually land before you take off. So she'll have a whole extra day. So like when I went from Japan back to the States last, our flight was at noon Japan time. We
Mhm.
landed at like 11:30 SF time, same day. Because you
So
go
I'm
back
just wondering,
over the date
so
line.
what are we seeing for Super Bowl tickets? What are we seeing for tickets right now?
$10,000, most expensive Super Bowl ever, because she's there.
Yeah, I mean that follows.
You get to be in the same room as Taylor Swift. Most people are like,
That
okay.
is very dystopian. Not even gonna lie. But
I
you know
mean-
what? We're living in a very dystopian time.
Dystopian time.
You know what? We're in dystopian Rome. You know?
I
Oh, yeah,
don't think it's that big of a deal. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
The tickets to the Coliseum are very.
Well, but here's the interesting
Well-
thing. I'm looking at Ticketmaster right now. Nosebleeds are going for $7,500.
Yes.
Nosebleeds are going for $7,500.
You know what's a great seat for the Super Bowl? My fucking couch. Because
Yeah.
that is.
But no, here's what gets me. You're looking because I'm looking right now at just the ticket prices, and I'm seeing seats that really like the corners of the nosebleeds are going for $9. I mean, these are upper deck seats.
Yep.
And they're going like, and now the lower you go, you said 10,000, right? I'm seeing 15s and 16s right now.
Yeah. The article I saw said it was starting at $10,000. Maybe that's after taxes and
It's starting.
But you know what, though? If you're waiting to buy Super Bowl tickets, though, like that's already like.
Oh wow! You want to know what like 50-yard line lower bowls going for?
Probably like 50
Please
grand.
tell me.
$65,000.
There is no event that is worth that much money.
I can't fathom having enough money to be like that's acceptable.
I can't even begin to imagine it. I mean, you can buy a pretty nice car for $65,000. I mean, you're basically paying for a car to go
I
see.
can imagine spending over $1,000 on
one
anything
ticket.
like that. Like AVN tickets for like the public, it was
Right.
$1,500 for a ticket.
One person's fairy tales, another person's farce, I suppose. But there's a lot of people who are really not feeling Taylor Swift being there. I'm hearing so much anti-Taylor Swift going on.
It's just, I mean, as I've said this entire season, including Michigan's national championship, which I bought this thing. I thought it was a sticker. It is not a sticker, sadly. It's just a dumb reality TV show. Stop everyone taking it so seriously. Like this is some like holy event that is completely pure.
What material is that made of?
It's
I
like
know.
a pennant. It's not what I wanted. I was very
It's just
sad
like
when I opened
pennant
it today.
material. Okay, is it
I
felty?
could just have it over my mic. Oh, okay.
You know something?
Great.
Even but looking at
That's
all
actually
this,
not bad. That's
that isn't
It
bad.
was a
I like
championship
that.
belt right now.
yeah.
But one note thing, since you do have that out, the Lions.
Oh, okay.
They were 30 minutes away. I know at least a few Lion fans unhappy. One of those is a four-legged Lion fan named Kirby, my cat.
Oh, I thought you were gonna
Was
say
really-
Eminem.
Who's really
I was like, what?
Eminem has 2 legs. I'm pretty sure.
We don't know that though.
We don't know.
Maybe he has
my-
baby legs.
Well, the whole thing is though, it's like I have a feeling the Lions will be back. They'll be back. They did not. There's going to be another
I
opportunity.
don't think so. The
I don't
coach
know that
said
they
like
will.
they're like we're not gonna be back probably.
I don't think you could take it for granted. To be
No,
perfectly
you
honest.
can. No, you can never. No, you can never take it for granted. Dan Marino showed you that.
Dan Marino absolutely did. Shit, I'm
Yep.
thinking about how I felt this past year playing, at the USA Dodgeball tournament. I was fortunate enough to be on a team that was on the Elite 8, for all three divisions for women's, and then on another team for co-ed. And I that was amazing, but like shit was special, and I don't want to lose sight of that. That sometimes you just have a really amazing run, and that doesn't mean you can't get back there, but there's no promise of it.
No,
And
there's
very
nothing
important
there.
to remember
Yeah.
it for what it is, because
There's no guarantee.
special.
There's no guarantee
Yeah,
of
to be in the
it. I
moment.
mean, losing a conference championship game with a chance to go to our league's championship game last year, it drives me to get back this season, especially since the Reapers are in a new league. But still, I know what you mean. I mean, the number. I'm thinking of me in speech and debate in high school right now, where I went to finals at our NFL districts in my
The
event 3
Forensic
times.
League.
That's right, old school NFL. Now it's the National Speech and Debate League. They changed.
Wait, did
They
they
changed
got
it.
the
Yes,
NFL
they did.
anymore?
Yes, they changed the name a few
No
years
shit.
ago.
Okay, because I'm also
And you
a
get
corner speech and
Yeah.
debate kid.
yeah,
Apologies here.
yes, we're both double Ruby durable right here.
Oh yeah,
But the thing is,
that's my Michigan love goes back to Michigan debate camp,
yeah,
where I actually met my spouse all those
But-
years ago.
but the NFL districts, I finished fourth like 3 times, and only the top 3 go to nationals. And only the top 2 from our district go to national. I finished third, all the way up. Every time I broke the finals in all my events, third, and it will wear on you. And then finally to break through and win student congress and go to nationals. I remember it, 1989, Golden, Colorado. At Colorado School, it was at Colorado School of Mines. Go Ore Diggers! It was great. I mean, it was great being at nationals. It was awesome being at nationals. But but at that time you're thinking like, shoot, I want to go because literally time is of the essence. You only get these years, and you never get it again, and you may never get there again. So no, I know exactly what you're getting at.
Yeah,
And
and I hope the Lions were a great team. I mean, shit, my Browns, I thought they had a wonderful season, but like, even the last time they made the playoffs and it looked like Baker Mayfield was turning a corner, and then he turned another corner and a third corner after that, and now he's in Tampa Bay. So you just
Right,
you don't know how shit's going to turn out, and
no, you don't,
that's all-
because and even when you win it once, you want more, because you don't think Jason
Absolutely.
Kelsey will want another bite of the apple.
Absolutely. I don't think I mean and especially if you look back to mid-season this year, the Eagles were doing amazing.
For sure. We thought they were gonna win.
Honestly, I thought it was going to be the Eagles against the field, and then
Tush
I mean,
push
Yep.
was the talk of the season, and I
Yes.
haven't heard the words tush or push for weeks. And
Yeah, that stopped real quick.
real quick.
Oh.
And well, yeah, because if you don't have a lot of 4th and 1s, then there's nothing to convert. It's
The
just
Tommy DeVito thing was fun. That was part of the
That
season.
was
for
fun.
me.
I mean,
was very fun. Oh my god, his
it was
fucking
fun.
agent wearing apparently the clothes he just wears every day, but you know what? I'm wearing cat ears, so who am I to talk about being a stereotype? But ultimately, like,
I know. I said on my Twitter that this is going to be the most watched. This is going to be the most watched show in television history. I think this is going to be, and I mean, I understand that's not that much of a stretch, given that among something like the top 30 shows of all time, I think 20 are Super Bowls.
Yeah.
But this is going to be different.
that's it.
This is different
for sure.
because this is the one thing that sports. And I think people need to understand this when you're talking about Taylor Swift. Is that sports has always sought the crossover with the popular culture. It's always
Sports
sought that.
entertainment going back to
Yes,
wrestling.
Sport, yes. but even wrestling, which is purpose built, designed to be entertainment, has always tried to cross over with the popular moment.
I mean, are not the sports we watch also purposefully designed to be entertainment?
Yes, they're entertainment.
It's all reality TV. That's all it is. It's just live action reality TV. Let's be honest here.
But sports at the same time has always tried to make, at one level they've tried to seek for it, but at the same time they've always tried to say we're above it. And
but they're not.
And they're not. No, you're not.
Though.
No, you're not.
The NBA draft just moved to 2 days for 2 rounds. What are we doing?
Yes, I want Travis Kelce to have the big game. If the Chiefs are to win, I want him to have the big game, and then take her hand, propose. He says yes, and it's happily ever after.
Yeah.
I want that.
And Brock Purdy goes back to his roommate.
See,
oh my God, Brock Purdy's gay. Good for him.
No, he's not even gay. It's just the base so expensive. He doesn't make enough money to live on his own.
Well,
so he just has a roommate.
But you know what?
That's real.
But here's the thing. I think that's going to end. I'll tell you right now. That's going to end after this. No matter win or lose, that's going to end. That's going to end. Brian Purdy's about to get paid.
Breaking up with his roommate?
No, he's about to get paid.
Also,
win or lose,
get paid a real lot to afford a Bay Area apartment on your own.
But
so
the point
I don't know if he's gonna
win or lose. He's gonna do all right for himself.
He's not to sleep in the living room anymore.
And also, and just so you know, just a little programming note: the Super Bowl won't be the only big game on Super Bowl Sunday. Also on Sunday, the rematch of the big battle of the pets, dogs versus cats. Yes, Josie and Kirby are going to go at it one more time. With more on that, here's Kirby the cat.
Hey, Curb. Oh, what's wrong?
Karleigh, you know what's wrong. The NFC Championship game, that's what's wrong. Can't believe the Detroit Lions blew that one. A 17-point lead in the second half? Really, Lions, really? Cat can't catch a break in the Super Bowl. It's bad enough that Cat teams been to 3 of them haven't won. Yeah, thanks a lot, Bengals. First, losing twice to that guy who looks like Barry Manilow.
You mean Joe Montana?
Don't remind me about Joe Montana. It's bad enough, lucked out in Super Bowl 16 with that goal line stand. We were coming back on him. And then, Sam Weiss, what were you thinking? Putting in a prevent defense against a guy who carves them up with that drive late? Really? Super Bowl 23? And then, Super Bowl 56 happens again. This time, Matthew Stafford? Really? It's enough to make a cat OD on catnip.
So I take it you're not picking the Super Bowl at this point.
Unlike you, I don't pick on the dead week. If anything, I'm picking Taylor Swift. That's who I'm picking. Tell you the truth, I just want to see Taylor Swift and Usher at the Super Bowl. 49ers, Chiefs, I could care less. Although I think the Chiefs are gonna win it.
Herb, you got a big game too.
Oh yeah, now you're talking. Dogs against cats next week. Pet Football League Championship game. Another chance to slap around Josie Howard a little bit.
You know Josie signed Bill Belichick to be the coach of the Dogs team.
So, I've got Nick Saban. Legend for legend. May the better felines win.
Really confident?
Of course I'm confident. We're gonna win that game. Now, I'm gonna get some rest. I know, Karleigh, do you think I can get in a video with English Electric?
What? What about me?
What about you? Are you actually gonna make another album or not?
Hey player, we heading out tonight. You wanna roll? Share, where we going? We're going to have Pussycats downtown. Pussycat? I like Pussycats. Oh yeah, bring some money. They got the first string honeys tonight. I got the inside 411 on that.
Welcome to Pussycats downtown. Coming up next to the stage, we have a sip of Chardonnay. Every Friday and Saturday, it's the same routine. Jeep out, fresh cut, and I'm on the scene. Pockets filled with the cheddar from my work.
Damn.
Looking
this
at
one's
the red
fucking good though.
Angel's face. On the pole, girls busting the move. In her lace bra, chasing away my blues. Gotta put another dollar in the G-string. Maybe after the show, maybe her and I can swing. But I know that's a pipe dream. Next night, back again, it's the same old scene.
Your flow is
Working
really
up the
good on
pole,
this toy.
Girls in the splits, maybe she'll
Like, this
notice
is
me.
good.
Maybe we can hit.
But I
Stack
love
the
the
green
callback
on the
to
beam,
Chardonnay,
wishing
too.
I could make her
Like-
scream. Leaves with me, that could be my greatest dream. But I know it's never like that. It's just a dance for the night, but I come right back.
Was there anyone
I
at
hope
ESPN
and wish
you were like,
her
you
and
should
I
get
could
on
be
the
right
track?
fit. A fantasy in her schoolgirl outfit.
You know what?
The life of
There are
a strip club.
ESPNers
Yes,
now.
I'm him. I'm lonely for love. I
You know
got
who you should have
problems.
got? You should ask to be on this track.
Ooh.
Paul Feinbaum. You should have got Paul on the track.
Question: Did you always have this as the picture for Omaha's Most Wanted?
What?
The picture of you as a little footballer.
Yeah, that was the cover of the album.
See a girl on the pole getting
Gosh,
her
that's
grind
so
on. Never mind, in the
precious.
morning I got class at UConn and the sun and
Wow, this looks
daycare.
very professional
Try to
now. It
get
looks like
assistance,
this
but
is
it's
a
just
like
not there.
podium by the
It's just not
university.
fair.
Like,
If
I
you
thought that
drop
was
out of
just,
school,
like, our
welfare, be
podcast.
cool,
I
but don't
appreciate
want
it,
something
like-
better, so I'm played like a fool. They say I make too much for food stamps. Whole damn system needs to be revamped. I got a scholarship, fighting to be keeping it, but dealing with the county's just full of it. And forget about daddy, daddy wasn't there. Baby came along, daddy's nowhere. And last month, Walmart laid me off. I'm short on my money, everything looked lost. I
Looking
got
for daddy,
bills
they're
to
looking
take
for
care,
mommy.
I got school,
Love
so I
that.
went out
Why-
to do
why-
what
why
I
is she
had
also
to
working
do.
at
So I'm
Walmart?
doing it and doing it and doing it well. It looks hot.
Oh,
to eat.
wow.
It's hell. Yeah, show us your tits. Yeah, show us your ass. To the outside world, yeah, I have no class. I'm pre-med at UConn stores, but you see me on the pool and you think I'm a whore. My goal in life's to make sick kids well, not making dicks swell. I'm on the pole, I got problems.
Did you ever perform this live?
I actually did that live once
Wait, you did
Where?
that, like, where?
over a friend of mine's house.
Okay.
Okay.
Actually, I had to lip sync that because you see, I had to auto tune a lot of that stuff.
Oh my god, this is a great transition to the next segment right now.
And we love a
Speaking of
great
lip syncing,
Here on transition.
speaking of lip syncing, Iggy Azalea didn't sing any of her songs really at all. They only gave her two,
Really?
and one was not fancy, and she did not play "I Am the Strip Club" either. She had one song that was like vaguely horphobic, so
Wait,
not great, not great.
Wait, I'm sorry. So at the AVN Awards,
Yeah,
where you're like, I've got a song that I want to perform that relates to this situation.
And it
You're
was
like, I'm going to
horphobic.
do the horphobic one. Cool.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You mean Iggy Azalea performed at the AVNs?
yeah. She had only two songs, and they were all each 2 minutes, and then she just got the fuck out of there.
And
No
one of
one
them was
stood up.
fancy.
Wow.
No, neither were
It
fancy.
wasn't fancy. She wasn't
Nope.
even
Crazy, right?
Okay. Go on, take the money and run. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if she was getting that much money, but
Wait, I was
usually
trying to
they get like
because I
6
saw
songs.
someone at Sin City. Well, I didn't see them because I was absolutely not waiting in
No.
line for it. We were at the bar down the strip. I was like, because it was like, gosh, and I'm terrible at telling the story because I should know the person, but it was like, it was some pop star that I just had genuinely no interest in, and I was like, or I don't attend, and I chose that one. I was right.
Name the pop star.
Gotta look it up. Hold on.
Oh, I thought you were like trying to be nice and not include them by name.
No. I'm just being someone with a poor memory.
But like, so AVN had really good guests
Really
recently. They had Cardi B, they had Doja Cat, they had Lil Wayne. Like, Iggy wasn't it. She was very bad. AVN.
Wait. Okay, that's a very. That's a
Who
good lineup.
was it? Oh yeah.
Natasha Bedingfield.
Oh my god, I've totally been at a concert
Wow.
and left before. She performed
That's
in like the center of Grand Rapids once.
And Sasha Colby, which my friends were I said Natasha Bedingfield, and they're like, nah, and they're like, ooh, Sasha Colby. So that like is
Who
a
the
someone.
hell is that?
It's a drag race for someone.
Oh, that makes sense. Why I don't.
Which
know.
is why I and you are like, I don't get it because I'm not a drag race girl. I like good for them, but like it just has never been my preferred medium.
I get 3 takes on AVN. I have my own personal take.
Yeah.
I had what happened during the show and kind of the aftermath.
Yeah, because
So
there was a lot of trans like controversy.
yeah.
Yes, there
So-
was.
But first, let's talk
How
about
should
how
I
you
start?
felt. Yeah, let's
Okay,
see. Like, what was
me?
your personal experience? Because you were up for a couple different awards.
Oh yeah.
weren't you?
I was up for
What were
2.
you up for? Alright,
I did an
let's start at the
oily.
beginning.
Yeah, I did an oily lesbian movie called Slippery Sluts that was nominated for best movie.
Wait a minute, what?
It was up for best like
Wait a minute.
specialty or like fetish movie.
Okay.
Wait a minute, what
Yeah,
was that
Best
called?
specialty movie.
Did I hear
Slippery
that right?
Sluts. Yeah,
Slippery
yeah.
Sluts.
It's by
Slippery
Adora
Sluts sounds like
Bell.
something Sylvester
Her
the cat would say. Slippery
So-
sluts.
my friend Adora had this big fantasy. She's like, I just want to like do a whole lesbian movie and just like cover each other with oil and come.
I mean,
And
that's
I did it
like,
with
a
her.
great idea. Like,
Yeah, she's like, this is my biggest fantasy. I just want to like get people to do it with it. I'm like,
And-
okay, sure.
it's so niche too that I really appreciate that. Like, you know, just going for that. Like, that sounds great.
Yeah. It was super easy. It was like 20 minutes of sliding around and having
'Cause you had
orgasms, and
said
then it
that,
was
even,
like
the slip slidey was like, I thought that would make it more difficult, and you're like, no,
so easy, so easy.
just put it right
So
in. Like,
I wasn't expecting anything of it, but I ended up getting nominated. And then 36 hours after this happened, I found out I got nominated for Cam Performer. So I was up for those 2. I got in super late, first stressful day. DoorDash deliveries get like stolen and shit. Stressful travel day, all that
jeez.
shit.
Okay.
I had a gangbang shoot planned that fell through because of like testing and people getting COVID. So that's not great. So the day of the award show was really cool. I got to be with Sin Sage when they got inducted to the Hall of Fame. Oh, even before that, the adult industry lost like 2 really iconic figures. The biggest one is Jessie Jane, and that happened the day before AVN, I believe, on
like
that
that
Friday or
Friday.
Thursday.
Yeah, I remember when you were posting that up.
Yeah, so it would essentially be like maybe mainstream music losing like Britney or Christina Aguilera. She hosted the AVN Awards twice. She won Performer of the Year once. I believe Best New Starlet as well. She was in the biggest ever porn production, the Pirates movies. Those had budgets over like $2 million, which is crazy for porno. So she was like a very important person in the industry. So kind of the whole backdrop of that was just really heavy overall, and just like a very emotional week. Day of the awards, everything went great for me. We did all the red carpet shit that you stand in line for like 2 hours and you go through all the whole
Was that
thing.
really like you're there for a while, like just like
Oh.
hanging out?
So I'll break down the day. So
Yeah.
I am still on Vegas time, so I'm waking up at like noon, which is crazy. So you get your makeup done at like 2 p.m. You get your hair done at like 3. You go back to the hotel and you have like an hour, and then you have to get to the red carpet at 5. And then you wait on the red carpet until your time, so you have to wait there 2 hours until 7. And then the award show doesn't start until 9 or 10. So the entire day is just like caught up in this whole thing.
All right, like that is a day. Like,
It's a day, yeah.
sure.
So it was like obviously a very stressful thing. It's crazy
Sounds
when
like
you're
it.
leaving your hotel and you have this realization. You're like, oh my god, my life and my career might change forever after winning this, because that's really what AVN is. Like, it's the highest accomplishment you can get. So there's a lot of nerves, a lot of first time people not knowing what they're doing and freaking out and having anxiety attacks. So I was able to really be the leader of my team this year. We had 3 first
You're
time
a veteran at this
performers.
point. Like,
I am.
like how many AVNs is this?
This
now
is
for
my
you?
9th one. I was
Yeah,
up for
you are.
my
That is that's a veteran status in anything, but like
Yeah.
especially in an industry like porn, to be like doing this for 9 years, like I love that you're able to then kind of lead the way in that front and like really show, be an example of like someone who's been there and done it, and like being proud and like and also helping those who are struggling. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. So there was just like a lot of people being like freaking out about long wait times, all this sort of stuff, and the awards were huge upset. Banna Bardot won a bunch of awards. Exactly, you don't know who that is. I vaguely heard the name before that, honestly. She's only like 22, 23. She won Performer of the Year over Angela White. She won it over Kira Noir, Lolo Chu. Like, really big performer names who were expected to win, and she won all these awards. She's from Miami.
That
Only
like
been in
Brock
porn.
Purdy winning the Super Bowl as a 7th-round pick, like the
Yeah,
equivalent, like,
so
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean,
that
she has major backing behind her with Vixen, which is Caden Cross's company. Caden Cross licensed my films when I was like first doing trans inclusion, and I think they're like one of the most rad people in this industry. That they started out as a performer. They were actually in that same Pirates movie with Jesse Jane, Stoya,
Oh, really?
Sasha Grey. Yeah, they were another performer in that. So that those people are leading this industry is really cool to me. But really big upset. My friend Ricky Greenwood, who's a director, won his film won Film of the Year again this year. I think what he's doing to porn is just like a really great thing. He's French Canadian, also a huge Chicago Bears fan randomly, which I don't know why you would do that to yourself. They actually expanded the trans category this year to include Best Actress as well. And Best Actress for cis women went to Karen Noir this year. She was the first Black performer to ever win Performer of the Year last year. So she's still getting awards and shit is really amazing. My dear friend and strap-on icon Sin Sage got into the Hall of Fame this year. So I got to go to the award winners section with them to get their AVN and got to hold an AVN for the first time, which was cool.
Yeah,
Also,
we,
I drank a
yeah,
bunch
we saw
of
the photo of that.
the free champagne. We fucked that shit up because they're not checking if you actually won. They're like, "Oh, you're here."
So let me get this straight. So you got into the champagne room.
Yeah,
You
so I
got
got the
into the champagne room.
I got to hang out with Angela White, which was pretty crazy. Where it's like, I feel like it was like after the Grammys last year, where you saw Taylor Swift with all like the queer pop stars like Fletcher. I feel like
Right.
that's what kind of happened there. Um, so we did a whole dinner afterwards with our whole team, and just a really great experience overall.
You're doing, like,
So,
dinner, like if you're doing dinner after, because this is taking place at like 11 at night, like
yeah,
Yeah.
the show ended at
Las Vegas
11:30, which was really short. So we didn't get to dinner until 1, and then we didn't get home until like 4 or 5. And I had to shoot the next day. There's this like queer crush, really cool. I did this like super Midwestern shoot. Everyone on set was the girl who I shot with, Jordan Max. She's in Minnesota. There was like a Chicago flag in the background. The site's founder is from Chicago and now lives in Vegas. And then being in Michigan, we're all like, we're just gonna channel Wisconsin and be the sum of all of our parts. Oh, I lost. Obviously, if I would have won, I feel like it would have came. I lost to Aubrey Kate, which her and Bailey J are like the greatest trans performers ever. So I can't be like mad. She's gonna be
but
in
at
the Hall
some
of
point,
Fame.
your number is going to come up, and I'm going to tell you right now, I want to be there when it does. I want to be there. I want. Hey, Shauna, how about it? Wouldn't you want to be there when Chelsea gets to that win?
I absolutely want to be there.
I want to be there.
I mean,
I want to be there.
we'll see when it happens. I think next year there's a very I have a fucking run. I feel like I'm Michigan after the last season where you know, I'm coming back with stronger shit. I have the Public Disgracing coming out in 2 months. That's gonna be like the craziest shit I've ever shot. So I'm really hopeful coming back, and there's gonna be future opportunities, and it was a really great experience. So now let's talk about the controversy.
Yeah, let's talk about this. So, again,
All right, what's the controversy?
You know what? We wouldn't be a show.
So what do you guys know? Yeah, what do you guys know?
As far as which controversy?
Well, the controversy.
Yeah, the whole
that
AVN controversy.
That I saw was that a performer that an award was not read on stage in a way that felt kind of very kind of giving it the short end of the straw. Like, yeah, that
So
was one big part of it. That it really showed how far there was still to go.
yeah, so AVN Awards, they have, let's say, 25 awards on stage. And
Right?
then what they do is they have it on video during the award show still, where they're announcing it all overhead, the winners
Right.
in all the other categories. So even in an establishment category like BDSM, which has been in the award since '84, so like most of the awards history, it's still in the after thing. It's not directly like on stage, right? So what happened this year was instead of reading Trans Performer of the Year, they switched it to Trans Actress, right?
Right.
Because it's a new category. They want it to have hype. They added, I think, 3 or 4 trans categories this year. So trans-specific categories, there's probably about 15 or 16 now.
All right.
Okay.
So it's a pretty, like, sizable number. So they did Trans Actress instead of Trans Performer of the Year. So when they read that, the girl who won did not attend. So de facto, there were no trans winners on the stage because of that. But there was a trans woman presenting that award and accepted on behalf of another trans woman.
Yeah, who presented the award?
Aubrey Kate, who beat me.
Okay.
And I mean, I've been beat by her probably 6 times now, so I'm very used to it. It's part of life now. But yeah, so I can understand though these new performers coming in who don't have this experience, who are like, well, why is there only one trans award on stage? And that's a very good question. I can also see how it also kind of doesn't include all the other things that trans people are being nominated for and winning for historically at AVN. Grand Reel went 2 years ago to a trans film. So I feel like I'm 100% behind any performer who's speaking out about whatever they feel should change with AVN and stuff. There's some people calling for a boycott. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think
A boycott for what reason? What did I miss here? You said that
they're saying
didn't show up.
Yes, but there's a lot of trans performers saying, why weren't there any trans men on stage? Why aren't there more awards for trans people on stage? Where
there was only the one, it was read and it didn't happen, and it feels a little like, well, then.
The thing is, so what you're telling me is, if I understand this right, the trans awards are those that are not. They're announced during the broadcast, but you don't get to see people get them.
No, there's one on stage. There is one on the stage.
There's one on the stage.
Yes. But
so this year they changed it from it being Performer of the Year to the new category. Yeah. So I think some people are upset about that as well. I can understand why it happened, but I can also 100% agree with all these younger performers who it's their first or second year who are like, why isn't there more? You know,
I love that they're asking for more. I think that's
and they're asking, and there's nothing wrong with that.
The path you paved is now that they're in a position where they don't ask to be present; they get to ask for more, and I think that's so beautiful. Like I love
and for like the context of porn, like 2003 is when trans categories were added all to AVN, and then it wasn't until like 2011 until trans people were even on stage for the award. Right. So it's really been a gradual thing in this industry where. Then my generation pushed for trans inclusion, so you can be in whatever other category. So I think there's also an amount of passing privilege that maybe some people who don't have passing privilege are being treated differently by staff at these hotels, which there's been a history of when it was still at the Hard Rock. I can understand why people are coming from that perspective. I also understand that there's some people being like, I had to wait in line all this time. And there's also an amount of people I think that this is a competition, something that can change your career. I feel like there's a lot of people who definitely get upset after all of this. There were multiple girls crying after the show. I've seen mainstream performers who have won dozens of AVN have meltdowns after the awards. And I think it's just going to happen in these sorts of situations. I think it's going to be interesting to see what the continued effort is down the road, but I don't necessarily think boycotting such a big part of the industry is necessarily an answer. But people definitely can boycott whatever they want, and I'm not gonna be like, you can't say that, which there has been some backlash from people within the industry, which I think is complete bullshit. It's also part of being an inclusive industry that you're going to have people who are going to have issues and they're going to raise concerns.
That's all part of inclusion. If you're going to include people, you got to be prepared to let their voices speak. You have to be prepared. I mean, and that's one thing it seems like your industry has done is that now more and more voices are speaking, and some people are going to get uncomfortable about that. I mean, but think about it. We're still light years away from that and say, I don't know, like sports and a lot of other stuff. So,
at least the door is moving. It's moving forward, but unfortunately,
one thing to the time.
But I can understand the perspective of performers who haven't been here for all of this. Where when I came into the industry and I saw all the slurs, I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? I'm new here. Why is this acceptable? And I can definitely see that the younger generation of trans women are definitely going to feel the same thing. Or trans men who haven't had an AVN winner since literally Buck Angel. Oh, on set, the set I have as an all Midwestern set, we figured out Buck Angel is the porn version of Caitlyn Jenner, who actually accomplished a really amazing thing. He did become the first trans man to ever win Trans Performer of the Year, the only trans man, but then became a far-right grifter selling t-shirts misgendering himself to cis people, which is kind of Warhol-y in a way, but also harmful.
He showed us that he could grow up to be trash, and good for him for it, I guess, really.
Hey, everybody's got a little something, and like I said, Chelsea, at some point we're going to get this.
In the case of
at some point, we're going to get there. But we're going to take a little bit of a quick break. You know, give a little bit of love to our sponsors. Throw some things out there. But when we come back, we got some things to discuss to round this show off. I'm Karleigh. She's Chelsea. She's Shauna. We are Transition Defense. Stay with us.
We have sponsors?
No, but it sounds good.
It does sound good.
And then, the National Collegiate Athletic Association first instituted its policy for transgender student athletes to participate in 2011. There have been 4 who have won individual conference titles. 3 have earned All-American honors. 2 have won individual national championships. But the first to do so was a young black trans woman named Cece Telfer. In her senior year as a track and field athlete at Division II Franklin Pierce University in New Hampshire, Telfer qualified for the NCAA Division II Indoor Championships in the 60-meter hurdles. Her 6th place finish made her the first transgender student athlete to earn All-American honors. But that was only the beginning. In the outdoor season, she competed in the grueling 400-meter hurdles, and she went on a season-long tear that led to a balmy night in Texas and the Division II outdoor finals in that event. From the starter's gun, Telfer took off like a rocket and launched into history. With a dominant wire-to-wire victory, she became the first transgender student athlete to win an individual NCAA national championship. Cece Telfer's special senior year was a huge leap forward at the intersections of Black history and trans history.
Can us ladies get a little love in this track?
Alexandra, the floor is yours.
Alexandra, SAS, small and sexy, let me tell you the rest. In combat fatigues or an evening dress, or French knickers and heels, I passed the test. Diana, the princess never fails. You want to ride when I set sail. The lion is roaming to take me out. Want a trip on my magic roundabout? Constance, consistently clever. Getting your attention is my endeavor. I can stoke your heart and get the fires burning. Beware, this lady's not pretending. Together with the majesty and the secret service. One time, lad,
together.
you have to earn it.
Well, all right. Not bad.
In concert with each other.
That's
Also, talk about your whether in fatigues or this, and I was like, yeah, nope, no closeted trans girls here. Why would you say that?
That is so wild. That you were making that and you're like straight.
Just I'm so cisgender, and just happy with my gender. As yeah, that was you definitely.
So
no, Not even a little.
Did you meet Obama after this or before this?
This is before this.
Actually, why she met Obama, actually, was like,
You
he'd
should have
heard
given it.
good things. he was like,
Would you
this
have given it
racist
to
gender
Obama? I think you should
definitely a
have.
man. Yeah.
I wasn't
think
even thinking about
Obama.
making this at the time. Like this was just like I don't know.
Barack Obama inspired you to make this? That's
No,
fascinating.
it's just no. What inspired me to make it was just I just wanted to see if I could do it. At first I just wanted to make a rhyme like to see if I could do
We
it.
joked around a lot, but I say this with all sincerity. I truly believe there's nothing that you don't put your mind to that you couldn't accomplish.
Yeah,
You
that's
fucking
true.
are so
I just
fucking.
think,
Like,
yeah.
seriously, the fact that you have this, like, obviously, like, we're like
A
teasing
whole
through it,
album.
but it's so fucking accomplished. Like, are you kidding? You're so fucking talented.
That's what makes it
And
funnier that it's like actually real and like
yeah,
legit.
like, absolutely. Like, I was thinking, like, I saw like a tweet earlier today that was like, oh, like, some usually you're 6 handshakes away from famous people, but for like trans people it's 3.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, that's true for me. And thank goodness I have so many amazing, talented, and funny fucking friends who are like doing shit. And like the two of you, I'm like, thanks, you two. Also, thanks, Jacqueline. And
Well, I don't know. Well, I don't know.
But you
'Cause,
have a
Shauna,
lot more than me, though.
Shauna, you getting in there? Shauna, you getting in there yourself? I mean, as we saw in that committee meeting in Ohio.
Look,
I mean, you have so many presidents and stuff. Like I have, like mine are not presidents.
Bailey J though, like let's not like sure they're.
I met Bailey J in the biblical
J.
sense. Also, that was like her first scene out of retirement.
Oh, wait a minute. What? Come on. Wait a minute.
That was her first scene out of retirement and the first one opening up her marriage. And I was like 21, first time in New York City, and I was.
See, that's
it was a
what's
lot.
wild.
It was mind blowing.
It's wild being able to say I have a friend who's a porn star. I mean, that's wild.
It's crazy being at AVN because you're just like, oh, I'm so normal, and then you get out of that room and you're like, oh, I'm rare and special. It's really weird.
That's kind of the trans experience in many ways too, though. I feel like in a more is you're like, oh, like when I'm just around other trans people, I'm like, this is just the way it is, and then I'm like, oh, really? The gender you came with? Okay, cool, that works. You do you. But
yeah, but
I get it though. Like, yeah.
See, it's interesting you say that because in this show you got to see a piece of the backstory, and that's actually something I'm working on right now.
Deep Karleigh lore.
I've been recently. I mean, I've been working on a couple projects that look into the backstory that will bring out the backstory, and that's something that's one thing. I mean, that's a little interesting discussion to get into. How do you reconcile the backstory? How do you reconcile the origin story if you do reconcile it? Because I'll admit, I struggled for years on how do I deal with the past. And I went from, at one point, wanting to erase it. When I first started my transition, I wanted to erase that. I mean, if you would have come up to me, say, 5 years ago, what you heard wouldn't have seen the light of day. Wouldn't have seen the light of day. And now it's like, okay, here it is. This is a part of my origin story.
See, I feel like for me it feels like a puzzle piece. Like we're like, oh, that is actually how it fits. And like before, like when you think you have it fitting and you're like kind of like squeezing it in and you're like, no, this kind of mostly fits. But then you're like, that doesn't actually fit. I am wrong here. Like that's kind of how it feels looking back, and transness just completes the puzzle. Because so many of my experiences growing up, like I think about like shit, like I used to be like where between like all of my friends were girls growing up, like, and I was always very like, I don't understand why we can't keep being friends, and like those like little like ways, and those ways where you look back and you're like, oh, that makes more sense now, like, and that's just one of many such things, like, but I think that's what's kind of cool to have these like enriching experiences and realizing all the different ways in which our lives have always been connected. We just kind of haven't realized.
That's true. See, and that's one thing, Chelsea. How does that hit with you? Seeing as like you're the youngest one of the group, so you've had the There's less to reconcile, but there's still stuff, perhaps, if you do.
I mean, like, it's just dumb stuff from doing dumb shit in your teens and 20s. Like, I also feel like it's weird because from the time I was like 17, I was on stage in bands and stuff. So, like,
Wait, what
where
did you
I'm from,
play?
I play bass. Yeah, I play
Oh,
bass
cool.
in hardcore and
I
metal
didn't know you were a
bands.
bassist.
Yeah, it makes that. It's always the girl.
Oh, again,
um,
things that
yeah.
make sense, but that's
See, I
not
came out
exactly
hella
the
young, so
conversation.
like, you know, I was like 12 or 13 when I came out, so all of that shit was done and away by that point where it was like, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's just everything in my like from music to then doing porn like essentially right after. Like there's people that know about all the shit I've done, which is really weird. I went back home. It was like in 2016. It was like right after my dad's funeral, and this guy came up to me and was like, "Oh, I know who you are. You were in this metalcore band 6 years ago." And I'm like, "What the fuck? That's what you know me from?" So I don't know. I feel like all my shit's out there, and like I don't know. I think it's all like got to this point, but I feel like everyone does dumb shit in college. You know, like
That's true.
that's what your 20s are for, is doing dumb shit and like making bad decisions. You know.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
guess
true.
like I
I
guess
think
mine
that is
isn't even like gender
that's a
related. It's just
great
life.
note to end this podcast on.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just making dumb decisions.
Yeah, that's what your 20s are for. If you're in your 20s doing listening to this, do some dumb shit.
What did you do? What's the thing you point to in your 20s?
What do you mean?
Just
Like where was
I
I?
mean, when you think of when you think of a moment in your 20s, what's the first thing that probably pops in there?
Okay, early 20s when I was still in college, I was like camming, so I wasn't going to school. I was just camming all the time. And all I was doing was I would go Thursday to the gay bar for Thirsty Thursday, and then there was Femme Friday, and then there was the Saturday thing, and I would
Friday.
just do that every single week
So where's
until I like got into porn.
Friday like?
Oh no, there's also like foam parties.
Sure.
It was a lot. It was a lot. So the problem when I lived in the Midwest.
Femme from Fridays.
Hmm?
Femme from Fridays.
The foam was only like once or twice a month. Also, when it would get on, you would like completely dry out your skin. Have you ever been to a foam party?
I've actually never been to a foam party.
I don't even know what a foam party. I don't even know what that is.
It's literally
okay. So
I've never yeah.
When I lived in Michigan, I was very big into Molly, listening to like Miley Cyrus, that sort of vibe.
Miley Cyrus. You gotta
like at that time.
Miley Cyrus and flogging Molly. Right.
Okay.
Like I would also listen to really bad like white girl.
Do you even know who flogging Molly is?
Of course I knew who flogging Molly is. I was in a hardcore. I know. I worked at venues.
Okay, just like
so I was like into really bad white girl rap too, like Shauna and Lil Debbie. Hence, an Oakland connection. It's bad. It's bad. So I would take Molly, and then you go to the club, and it's the usual club and shit, but they would fill it with just like bubbles, and it was like completely to the ceiling, so people would be like hooking up inside the bubbles and stuff, and like all that crazy shit. So that was a vibe, and then so it was like a lot of like. So I would dress femme like I do now, but I wasn't getting read as gay because in the Midwest at the time you had to wear flannel and like a flat-billed hat. So then I had to start dressing like that until I moved to the Bay. So there was like a good while where I had to wear flannel, flat-billed hat.
Wait a minute.
whole thing.
Flannel?
Yeah,
Bush
because like it was
era,
like
of
the
course.
Okay,
like
this is
it was like soft femme. I mean like hard femme if anything.
okay.
Yeah,
But
that does feel
um,
more accurate.
20 is for Chelsea is like you're looking at like 2013, 2014.
yeah, well, 2012. Yeah, 2012, 2013.
20 for you is like the early two bills. Kind of into like around like maybe I would say like into like 2003, 2004 into
2005 to 2015 ish.
all right.
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
And
okay.
so it was like it was a lot of house parties and beer pong. I was a beer pong aficionado back in the day.
That shit was so much
and
fun.
It was so much fun, and I was very good at it. So I always had a blast at, and so like I ended up like having the party house in a lot of my 20s, and so I would end up hosting a lot of it too, and so definitely hosting kind of fun, crazy 20-something parties. That was always a really good time. That was
What was
like
your go-to drink?
Yeah, what was the go-to?
my go-to back then was Miller Lite. All of my
Oh
friends
wow,
drank Miller Lite.
Miller Lite?
That was their
Wow.
drink of choice. Well,
that's
because like,
crazy.
oh yeah, and there was like a real like snobbery towards like Bud Light. Like it was like it was a time, and
I was
so
a Mike's Hard Lemonade girly.
you got to
Was my
figure
jam.
out which beer was yours because everyone's drinking the same fucking can of beer, right? So then you had to. I got really good at like beer detectiving which beer was mine based on the direction of the can, like where because I was also a lefty, so my angles were different because it would be pointed in a different direction. So I got good at figuring that out.
As for me in my 20s, I was chasing a dream. But I can tell you, I look back at some of those air checks back then, and I realized something. I did kind of some pretty eggy shit.
You don't say. You?
And with that, it's probably the place to end it. That's the transition defense for this week. We'll see y'all next week because it's Super Bowl week. So long, everybody.